So, all right, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Terry Moultrie, Devin's mom.
Yep, and this is the mental wellness little interview that we have, and and my mom's right here has a little bit more experience with it. I'll say.
Okay.
So basically, how did my autism journey go when I was started?
Your autism journey started at probably about 6 months old or so, I say. I didn't know what autism was at the time. And you just kept crawling to the little vertical curtains we had, and you kept messing with them. And your dad was like, "No, come away from them." And he'll tap you on your little pamper, and then you would still go to it. And I said, well, something is wrong if he keeps going to it and you tap him on the pamper and he doesn't stop. And so I just kept noticing your language wasn't there. You wasn't meeting the milestones that a kid at the different stages should make. So then I said, well, something's not right if he's not talking. So then I just started investigating things and just tried to see what was going on. And so I finally talked with your pediatrician. I talked with them, and then they just started telling me just to start going to different resources and stuff they gave me, and I did that. And we got hooked up with the Meyer Center, and then we also got hooked up with it's not Easter seals, it's a different one. EIC. And so you did EIC, but I found out about it late. So you only was in the program for like 2.5 months, but they got us hooked up with HISD because that was the um area we was in for schooling with HISD. And then HISD got us you got connected with the PPCD program with HISD at the time, and it was awesome. And then you just went through elementary and you went through that, and then life skills, and then you went to middle school, and you ended up being in the track program in middle school at Edison. And then once you finished with Edison, it was a fight. And then you ended up at Lamar with the track program. You ended up going into general ed classes with accommodations. And with that, you graduated and you ended up going to University of St. Thomas because I saw Dr. Torres
Yep, you
on
saw.
the news
Yep.
on Channel 13. That's my channel.
What is like any other kind of issues that I had back then? Because I know
You,
one was anger issues. That's one of
yes,
them.
you really did have a lot of anger issues, and it's because you said you would always say people wasn't listening to you. And so we started learning to just let you talk and say what was going on. But before that, we really didn't understand what was going on because your communication wasn't that good. And so once we got you to help, we got you therapy, different therapies, ABA. We did a whole speech therapy. We did so many therapies with you. So you started learning how to talk for yourself and be able to communicate with us so we would know what was going on. Um, so that did help. And I mean, you had a rough patch in the beginning, but like I say, once we got the therapy you needed, and honestly, once you got the classes you needed to help you, that's when everything started. Once you started high school, everything started falling into place. It was just like you weren't in the right places you needed to be. Even though you were in the track program in middle school, you were still in a self-contained classroom. But once you went to high school, you were in general ed with accommodations. So it's like you were where you needed to be.
Mm. And then you mentioned like communication errors, especially
Hmm.
that before recording. Can you
Hmm.
explain that on camera a bit more?
Well, um, I bought these videos that I would play in the car all the time for you, and it was baby sign language, and I would play them constantly in the car because that was your thing, repetition. and I would play all the stuff all the time. And then you were going to have your adenoids removed at 11 months old. And we were up at Texas Children, and they had a little fish, the little fish tank and all that. And you did the sign language for fish, and I was just like, oh my god, he actually understands it. He's getting it, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then start doing the one for dog and the one for drink and eat, and it was just like, oh my god, we can kind of communicate a little better with that, because at first you would just scream and fall out, and we didn't know what was going on, and we tried everything, but once you start once we were able to communicate, have a communication thing, it got better. It got a whole lot better.
Wow. So that's my story, my early story from the past.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of a rocky start, but then
It was, but it got better.
yeah.
I'm the type of person, as long as you continue to work with somebody and you try to find all the opportunities you can, you're able to work with that person. You just gotta want to be able to try and be able to find any option to be able to work with it to help, because we tried everything. We tried a lot, and then especially when you got into football and rugby and stuff like that, it was just like things just changed, because it was just like you started communicating more. I don't know what it is, but you just started. It's like you needed that one little thing that worked for you, and that was football. Because you started off with football, and then you had the baseball and basketball, even though those were special needs. But the football and rugby wasn't, and you were dealing with regular kids out there, and they accepted you for being you. So that was the awesome part.
What would you suggest it for any people that has disabilities or autism or something like that, and what can help them in their path?
My suggestion is keep trying, keep looking for resources. Um, do whatever you can do, advocate for your child, because that's what it takes to advocate, and always reach out to people that might not know. We met a lady at church today.
Mm-hmm.
She's new, and she had her baby, and I left out of church to go find her, me and Miss Renisha, and we met her, and we talked about how the service at the special needs service at the church works, and now we've been texting all day. All three of us have been texting all day, because she needs help. Her baby's 8, and she needs help because she came from another state.
What state?
She came from Louisiana.
Louisiana.
Yeah, well, she came like 12 years ago, but her baby is only 8. So it, it's about finding the services you need, and a lot of stuff, especially after COVID, a lot of stuff shut down or went out of business. So it's kind of hard, but it's still some main services there for people, and it's just that you try to reach out to people you know, or go to resource fairs, or different things, just to find help. Yeah.
Okay. That's my story.